Russell, you ready?
I'm here. I'm here.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. We're pleased to have Rick. I think Rick, this is your first presentation given to the group, is it not?
Yes, first for the NMRA, right?
Okay. So Rick took us up where a few months ago when we said, hey, if you have something that you would like to present to the group, but you're not real good at taking pictures or PowerPoint, Ron, Fred, myself will help you get going. So Rick took us up on that, and Fred kind of helped Rick with the PowerPoint here. So I just want to encourage all of you in the room and who may view this later on in the week, that if you have something that you think the group would like, let us know. And if you need any help, we'll be glad to help you so you can share it with us. So Rick, thank you very much for doing this. And let's see how that layout disappears.
Yeah. Okay, Rick. All right, let's play that video. Okay, we will. What happened is back in May of 2013, I was contacted by a company called Creative Bed, and they make hardware for manufacturing Murphy beds. And as some of you probably know, Murphy beds are designed where they fold up a lot of times either in a cabinet or into a recess in a wall and stuff to create space in the room. And they'd been given my name by a friend of mine as a supplier for parts supplier for him and stuff, who was a model railroader. And they came over and saw my layout and liked what they saw and everything. So we discussed, what they wanted to do. And they actually, their hardware, what we decided on was just something, this was about the size of a single bed, a 3 foot by 7 foot layout. And although they can go all the way up to a king size bed, so really the size of the layout that you did with this would really be based more on weight than on the physical size. So this is probably, the foam my layout probably weighed a lot less than what a regular mattress would weigh and stuff. So really it was no issue at all, but even a larger layout with maybe more substantial frame and stuff.
Hey, Rick, stop for a minute. They can barely hear you. If we move the mic closer.
Where is the mic? Over here. Yeah, it's good mic. Go ahead, Rick. See if that's good. All right, testing. You hear better now? Can you tell?
Yeah, better, Rick.
Okay. Well, anyway, like I was saying, that they can make all the way up to a king size bed, but for their purposes, they were just looking for a display, and a single mattress, a single bed size was fine. What they they decided, they had it in their head, they were trying to expand their business. So what they were thinking is that what else could you put on something that was about the size of a bed that would maybe appeal to people? So they were thinking like slot car tracks and came to the model trains. And what they were going to do with it is this layout was actually supposed to go to Nuremberg, Germany for the toy fair there, and the layout was done and everything. And I don't know if it was a problem with them. They built the cabinet, And I don't know if it was a problem getting the cabinet there, but there was just some issue. So what they did is they actually filmed the video and stuff, and then they gave me an excerpt from it. For my keepsake. But anyway, basically what we did then is once we decided on the size and we decided on 2 loops. And what we did was figured out, they decided that they wanted to join the 2 together. So they wanted turnouts. So normally on a display layout, the last thing you want to do is put, turnouts in there because it just creates issues. But because they decided they were going to go from the bottom to the top layout and back down again, I went ahead and put 2 other turnouts on it. So I had siding on each level. Go ahead to the next picture. Let's see the next one too. There you go. Go ahead to the next one. I can do. Basically what I did, I'm sorry, can you back it back up 2 more? I'm getting ahead of myself. There you go, that's good. Basically what I did is on that first sheet of the foam, once I ripped it down to 36 inches and cut it down to 7 foot, I took a marker and drew a track plan on there. And then also where I wanted some, I thought it would be a good idea just for interest and stuff to add bridges and maybe a tunnel, that sort of thing. So I kind of drew in where some of these features and stuff would be. You can see the black markers on the foam and stuff. And I went ahead and started cutting out the foam. And that's about the time I realized there was a problem because back in 2013, all the Atlas track came from China and you couldn't get it. So we ended up going, Scale was able to get micro engineering track for me. So I ended up using micro engineering flex track. And I use Pico turnouts. Pico was always a good go-to. And the N-scale people, we all use them and stuff because they've got a built-in spring. So when you throw them, it makes a nice firm, contact and stuff. So it's good electrically and you don't seem to have a lot of derailment problems. As you can probably see in this picture for the bridges and stuff, those are HL scale bridges. They're, I think it's like one of those up and over things and stuff. And I've used them before for different projects and stuff. The nice thing about them is this is a curved section of track. So the extra width and stuff allowed me to have the track actually curve through there. So anyway, once I got the track and started, putting the track down, I went ahead, right before I did it, I ended up putting some, I went and got some brown acrylic paint from Scale and just put a light coat of brown paint down to hide the pink. And because at that point in time, I hadn't decided whether or not I was going to ballast the track or not. So I wanted something underneath it other than the pink and something. What I figured I'd do is actually just file down on either side of the track and create some kind of profile and stuff so you don't end up where it looks like it's off, one big flat plane. So once I got the foam painted and I went ahead and laid down the track. And the first thing I did is I made a solder joint and stuff, especially on curves and stuff. You want to solder just so you don't get a kink and then put the wire feeds in it. Once I got the track down with the wire feeds and the track all soldered, I hooked a power pack to it and ran a train because it's a whole lot easier to fix the track if there's an issue with a kink or if there's an electrical problem right now than when you have to deal with scenery and stuff that's all around it. So, okay, let's go to the next picture. Then once that was done, I added a second layer of foam, again, cutting out for the where that river channel is going to be. And go to the next picture also. And the next one. And actually, you can see this here at this end, there was like a big gorge and stuff. And I went ahead and started cutting out for it. Behind all this stuff right there, all those pieces of foam, there's actually a power pack and stuff. I wanted to incorporate that into the layout, but I didn't want it to really be, I didn't want it to look like there's a big power pack sitting in the middle of the scene. So actually I was able to put it underneath a mountain or a hill. And that's all those little pieces and stuff. They're just what the off-fall from the original 2 pieces. And to put it all together, I was using, Liquid Nails makes a product for foam, and I was using that on most of it. And later on, when I got to some of the smaller pieces, I think the tube of glue I had was gone. So I had some other stuff, and it's called like Power Grab, I think is the name of it. It almost looks like a caulk. And it's also designed to stick to foam. But just to make sure everything sticks, I ran some 4-inch screws. So the 4-inch screws will help because it was gonna be moving a lot, and I didn't know exactly how much bracing and stuff it would have in that mechanism. I didn't know if it'd be twisting or whatever. I wanted to make sure it was secured pretty well. So we go to the next picture. There you can see where the power pack is hidden underneath the foam and stuff, and I'm just kind of putting pieces on there just to get an idea of what it's gonna look like and stuff. And in front of it and stuff will be a couple tunnel entrances and things, so we'll finish it off that way. But I wanted to be able to control the thing real easily and make it simple to control too. So basically, I didn't worry about any kind of block system and stuff. It's each loop is powered. That power supply has it has two rheostats on it, so you can control two trains. So the top loop's powered by one part of the power pack, and the bottom is powered by the other piece. Let's go ahead and go to the next photo. Again, you can see where I'm getting to where, oh, go ahead and skip to the next one. That's what I was gonna skip. You can see where that gorge is gonna be and stuff, and I figured I was gonna put a trestle and stuff across that on the second loop, but I didn't have a trestle yet. So what I did is you just put some foam box under there to hold the track. Again, once I got the track on the second level, I wired it, I soldered all the rail that it needed to be soldered, wired it, dropped feeders and hooked it all up and ran a train. Because like I said, again, you don't want to wait until the scenery's done to find out you have a problem. It's so much easier to fix this way. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, I started at this point and stuff, I was starting to go ahead and start shaping some of the foam. I glued most of it down. I think on some of these pieces, you can see like this one and maybe back there, I used the plaster cloth that I think it's Walters makes it. And it's a real nice and easy product to use and stuff. I usually just get that roll and cut it into little strips, a couple inches wide. And then I'll have a pan of water, like an old pie pan that you can dip them in and stuff. And then you just apply the little pieces and let them overlap a little bit. And when they all dry, it's really pretty strong. But on the other hand, some of the foam is just painted and stuff. And the nice thing about foam is that you can get some pretty nice rock forms and stuff just by pecking away at it. Like on this piece here, you can see all I did is took a regular piece of foam and just took a screwdriver and started chipping away on it. And you end up with some interesting shapes. But then after I get that done, I'll take a solvent-based paint, usually like a black or a brown, and spray it with that. The solvent eats it up and melts it. And it ends up taking off some of the fuzzy looking stuff, and it kind of gives it a more irregular shape, almost looks like a volcanic rock and stuff. And then you just start painting it with some dark color paints and stuff. And usually I use a bunch of different colors. I usually go with black first and then just start misting on like lighter browns or grays and stuff like that. So I get something that looks halfway decent. So that's what I've done on some of it, like right there. And that's kind of what we were going to do there. And then as we go on, I'll be doing some more and stuff. You can see the makings of a mountain and our hill back there and stuff, where it's just pieces of foam stacked up and stuff, where I decided I'm going to put a mountain. Let's go to the next photo. And more of the same, really. You can see where it's just going to have, well, there was the one I was talking about. The viaduct right there is actually going to go across the gorge. I'm going to use it as a highway bridge. It's an N-scale viaduct and stuff that Atlas or somebody made. Let's go to the next photo, please. And there you can see where the viaduct's going to go. When it's finished, I'm going to have a roadbed that I'll just make out of styrene and put on top of it and stuff. And I'll have a portal on each side and stuff. So it'll just be where it'll look like you come out of a tunnel, drive across that viaduct and go back into a tunnel. And as you can see where the trestle is going to go, I've got things all taped up and stuff just to keep them clean while I'm doing more plaster work. Okay, we can go to the next photo there now. Again, like I said, you can just chip away at the foam and stuff and kind of soften the angles and stuff. And the nice thing about it is really you don't have to do a whole lot to it, even though it doesn't really look like rock or anything there. Just by getting a general, curved shape and stuff where it looks like it kind of eroded a little bit and stuff. When you start putting ground foam on it later on, it's going to give the appearance of, a nice hill form. Also, you can see on this picture, I've already started drawing in on the foam and stuff to make sure I've got plenty of space for the buildings and stuff that are going to go on it. And, after we get a little bit further along on the scenery and some of the landforms. Let's go to the next photo. Again, tracks taped up. Here you can see right there, the brown part right there in that little depression. That's some of this. And this basically, I was working years ago on a building downtown, and we were tearing out walls and stuff, and they had this stuff on walls. It was a 12 by 12 square, and it's a cork, it's just cork bark, I guess. And what it did, it was a decorative thing. So it just fell off the wall practically. We were able to scrape it off, and I liked it. So I took it to my house and put it in my daughter's playroom and stuff. And then these are just the off-fall scraps. But you can break pieces off of that, and it makes real nice looking rock, and the colors and stuff are real nice. And like I said, it just breaks apart, and you end up with just like a chunk of bark that's maybe that wide and a foot long. Let's go to the next photo. Again, more of shaping the foam. The thing on a project like this is trying to get it done in any, a reasonable amount of time. You're dealing with all these things that dry at different levels and stuff. So you can put plaster on, but you got to wait till it dries. You can paint the plaster, you got to wait till it dries and stuff. So I keep flipping back and forth, working on one end or one project and stuff, and going from one project to the next. I don't know what the yellow came from. It must be something, I didn't notice it before. I don't know why the yellow stuff's there, but I think it's just, I think it was white originally, and I don't know what's causing it to wash out. Let's go to the next photo. Again, you can see I like to keep everything real neat, so there's only a ton of crap all over the place there. Let's go to the next one. It's starting to shape up pretty good where the car pack and stuff is and stuff. It's hidden pretty well and starting to get some progress on that. Let's go to the next photo. And again, you can see there's a tunnel portal. And again, you get into a lot of expense buying all that stuff. So years ago, when I bought a tunnel portal that I like, I made a rubber mold of it. So I just took some latex and stuff, and you can knock out a rubber mold pretty quickly. And once you get something like this, then, if you need, you can use one or you can make a dozen of them and stuff. And it's just no real expense. And plus you can, with it being plaster and stuff, you can cut them up and change the sizes of them a little bit. So I've got molds for like retaining walls and these tunnel portals. And then this is a big rock mold where I found a lump of coal and made a big rubber mold of that. The nice thing about a mold that size is that even though I don't really have a place for or you would want a big chunk of plaster that big sitting on my layout or something, but you can just cast sections of it. You can cast the pieces that you want. Again, I'm testing the track, so I even once plaster stuff's on there, I'm still looking, making sure I don't have any shorts, don't have any electrical problems and stuff. Let's go on to the next photo now, and we can go to the next one too. Again, you can see we're making some progress. There's a lot more carving that's gone on. And then on the one side, and you can see a block of styrofoam sitting next to the track. Well, that's going to be the building I end up scratch building for the Creative Bed Company. And you can see the bridges again. Like I said, this bridge and these two bridges here, they're both HL scale bridges that I think I bought them from another project or something. When we're doing N-track stuff, a lot of times if you're going to have parallel tracks, HL scale bridge is wide enough you can get two trains to run across it. So I picked up some from years ago. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Again, you can see the other siding and stuff, and I've got the building there, and I left the flat area beside it to represent a parking lot and stuff. And you can just see some of the contours. I've kind of contoured around these tracks and stuff, ground that down to give them a nice, where it looks like it's just been built up to level of the surface. And then on top and stuff, it's kind of the same thing going on. Back there in the mountains and stuff, I've covered them with the plaster cloth, and they're starting to shape up. And then the other ones, like the front here and stuff, have been carved and are getting ready for this, for the same process. Let's go to the next photo, please. Again, you can sort of see, there you can see a better picture of the mountains in the back. And the nice thing about the plaster cloth is really once you put a wet piece of plaster and stuff, it hits on the hot parts of that foam and it just sags and creates the other landforms and stuff. It makes a nice irregular shape and stuff. So it works out really nice. Let's go to the next photo. Again, let's go to the next one also. There you go. Again, we're getting a little bit further along with plaster, so all the track's taped up to protect it and stuff now. And it's really starting to shape up a whole lot more and stuff. You're getting to see what it's basically going to look like. That's probably the only building, the little gas station there is the only building that I had that really purchased. The other ones I've had, you know, off of another layout or what have you and stuff. And we probably all have those sort of things where we've done a project and we've changed something and all of a sudden we end up with a house or something we don't have a place for. And you just put it on a shelf. Well, I went through the shelf and got everything I could. I thought, let's go get rid of this. Those little buildings, that's one of those Walther's buildings. So, you know, they were running about $50 or something. So they're kind of expensive. So we didn't want to use too many of those. Let's go to the next one, please. Again, you can just see where things are, you know, starting to shape up. I painted the river, not yellow, but it was painted a gray. And it's starting to get a base coat and stuff on it anyway, so that I can trying to seal all the foam and just generally just trying to make a little progress. Also, there's another foam building right there that's going to be going on. It's just a little house and stuff. The nice thing about some of the foam is that you can cut out a shape of a building, you can cut out a shape of a house, and if you've got a place where, say, you wanted to build it on the background up against the skyboard or something, it's real easy just to make one out of a piece of foam, paint it up, and put bushes and stuff around it. And generally speaking, if you just glance at it and stuff, it's going to look like, you know, you spent a lot of time and money for another building, and it's just a piece of foam that you probably would have thrown away. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, we're just still grinding away and covering stuff with plaster, trying to seal it. The nice thing about the plaster is it does kind of protect the foam. Foam's pretty soft and stuff, and by having the plaster on there, it gives it just a little bit more substance. And plus, a lot of times too, you can kind of draw on it and stuff. So if you want to put cracks like in a concrete or, you know, a sidewalk, a road or driveway, what have you, you can, if you're careful, you can do it on the plaster where you can't really do it on the foam. The other thing is too, although this is the plaster cloth here, if you're just putting another coat of plaster over it, what I generally do is mix a little gray paint or dark black paint with it so that you tint the plaster so that if there ever is a chip in it and stuff, you don't end up with a big white spot. It'll just, if it's a rock face or something, it'll still look like a rock face. Let's go to the next photo. All right, now I'm starting to make some progress on the trestle. The top part of the trestle was part of a Walther's kit I'd put together. And when you buy those trestle kits from Walther's, it comes with, you can build it either as straight or you can build it with a curve. Or if you're putting a couple of them together, you can build it with a nice little curve and straight sections. You can kind of mix it up a little bit. And as a result, I ended up with some curved sections and some straight sections. So I glued them together, but I didn't have the vents. So I took some styrene and ended up making all the legs and stuff for it. So I just glued, you know, cut them out and glued them underneath it. And then I put some supports and stuff to help hold them and keep everything straight. Let's go on to the next photo. Again, I'm kind of getting to where it's getting closer and closer on the scenery and stuff. So I'm starting to put the buildings and stuff in and trying to work out some of the scenic features and stuff on the layout. So I've got the barn pretty much situated where it's going to go, and the house and the gas station. And then this is just going to be like I guess like a cottage overlooking the lake, like a camp or something of that sort. And again, here's the building that's going to be scratch built eventually. Let's go to the next one now. Again, that's the other part. There's back there with it's just going to be I guess it's a gravel company. And again, you can see the flat areas. I've painted that gray and stuff to simulate concrete. And then I've gone ahead and glued the building in place. And again, it was just something that it was a project I had for an N-track module and stuff that I thought, well, this would be a good place to use it. Okay, next picture, please. Again, we're working on moving people around and stuff. And actually now the yellow stuff is really probably sort of a greenish yellow ground foam, where I've probably painted it and started putting down some ground foam and stuff and started covering some of the hillsides. All right, go to the next photo. And you can see, this is actually a big piece of, it's just a rock casting that I made. And so is the one back here. That's a rock casting made with this mold and stuff. You don't fill them up with plaster for, otherwise it would really weigh a ton. You just want, paint coat and stuff in there, maybe quarter, 3/8 of an inch thick. But again, you don't need the whole thing too. I just cast a section of it I want. So once I get it on, then you just apply drywall mud or plaster to the back side of it and stick it where it goes. And once it's dried stuff, you come in and kind of fill up into the cracks and kind of blend it in with the rest of the scenery. And again, when you cast them, I usually cast them with some plaster that's got some gray or black paint in it. So you end up with, if there is a chip or something, it ends up still looking like a rock. All right, let's go to the next photo. Again, like I said, you can see I've got ground foam and stuff coming on things and it's going everywhere. It's sitting in there where the power pack will be. But that's sort of the nature of that. The more, once you start putting that on, that's going to change the feature of the rock and stuff. So like the parts where the foam doesn't stick and the gray paint sticks through, it's just going to look like a rock outcropping on a hillside with vegetation. All right, let's go to the next photo. Again, there's back into that cove and stuff, and we're looking at still got to do something with the portals and some work to do on the bridge. As far as the back abutment and stuff, a nice thing about styrofoam and stuff is too, you can actually, if you got a sharp knife, cut little pieces of it and glue it together, so you can end up with some Art Deco looking kind of abutments and things, real simple, and it's very inexpensive. And once you sand it sort of smooth and then paint it with some gray paint and then do some weathering and stuff on it, it'll look like, like a plaster one that you'd have purchased or whatever, but it'll look like concrete in the finished product. Let's go to the next one then. And again, there's the trestle and some of the cove. Let's go to the next photo. And then I'm still working on that river, on the riverbed, and I've got to do something underneath the house. It's just kind of floating in the air. All right, next one. All right, well, I finally got the trestle painted, and then if you notice, I've built a bridge and stuff that goes across the stream. And on the back viaduct and stuff, the viaduct has got the top on it, so it's got I just took a piece of styrene and cut it to fit that area and stuff, and then I added also a piece on each side to make like a sidewalk, and then put a border on that just for safety. And then those are just two Walther's vehicles. It's one of those yeah, I think it's Walther's. It's one of those kits you can buy. It's just a police car giving a ticket to a car. And I thought, well, that'd be interesting. It'll catch somebody's attention and stuff. All right, let's go to the next photo. Getting a lot further along now in the scenery. Still have some work to do on tunnel portals and some things, but it's starting to take shape. I'm starting to take some of the big clump foliage and starting to put that around and starting to define spaces and what have you. Let's go to the next one. And I finally got the building built for the Creative Ed company, and you can kind of get a feel for what the river's going to look like. The bridges have been painted, and I've actually put some ballast and stuff on some of the track and worked that in. The bad thing about ballast is that you get everything running really nice, and then you put ballast on the track and spray it all with glue, and you got a mess. Nothing will run, so you got to clean all that track. So I was real leery about doing it just because it's a time thing. It takes so much time to put it on, and it takes time to clean the track afterwards. Let's go to the next one. Again, the little town's taking straight shape. You can see where the roadways and stuff are going and been put in, and I've got the houses and the farm and stuff all secured, and I'm probably working on adding some of the plastic bases and stuff on them. Do you have a question, Bob?
You know, I have a backdrop.
Oh, I did. I don't have one yet.
No, it is.
Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah, what I ended up doing is I went ahead and made a backdrop to it because I wasn't exactly sure what the back of well, first of all, if things fell off of it, I thought I'd keep it from falling to the ground or falling into some kind of mechanism. But the other thing is that Bob Cougar showed me how to do it. He watched the guy that paints the happy trees and stuff, Bob Rice, Ross, and he showed us how to paint those trees, and it's real simple to do, and it makes a nice backdrop. The thing is that it's realistic enough where it kind of, you can blend your scenery and stuff in if you pick your colors and stuff right. But it doesn't, it's not distracting from the overall layout and stuff. And in a little bit, you'll see where, because of the sky blue and stuff I've got and the different, they ended up putting a cloud wallpaper or something on the back of the cabinet. It almost made it look like you're up on a hill looking across, and you can see a horizon because my blue is different color. And then you see their clouds. So it almost looks like water, clouds over a water place. Let's go to the next photo. Again, you can see I'm getting a lot further along and stuff on the scenery. It looks like I've gotten the one portal for the roads and stuff are in, and you can kind of see the Creative Bed Company, and still more trees than have you. Let's go to the next one. And there's the Creative Bed Company. Like I said, that the company's located just right over there by the zoo. In fact, when we do our November swap meet, right across the street's at Wendy's, and there's that street right next to Wendy's. If you go down that street about 2 blocks, and on the right there's that company, and that's pretty much what their building looked like.
I think you mean the train show and
Oh,
sale,
the
right?
trade show, yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry. But again, you can see I've got a lot more trees and shrubbery and stuff around it, and the more of that stuff you add, the more, it just makes for a nicer looking layout. And before, when this was just plain styrofoam and stuff, like I said, there's not a whole lot there. I just pretty much, shaped it a little bit to give it a little bit of a contour and a little bit of an angle. And then it's just a matter of spraying it with some paint and then maybe putting some ground foam and what have you on it. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, there's the cribbing and stuff. And like I showed you, I made a mold of that. So I ended up cutting some cribbing and stuff out, and where you see where the pieces don't fit, together and stuff, that all gets hidden by later on by putting ground foam and stuff in those areas, and it'll all go away and blend in together. And again, there's still a bunch of work. This one looks like it's almost ready. It's been put in, but there's still some other issues and stuff that have to be done on some of the plaster and what have you. All right, let's go to the next photo. And we're starting to look a lot better and stuff. One of the things that's kind of interesting, and it really resembles this, but the neat thing about the plaster cloth is it's got like a gauze. It's made with a gauze. So, and the plaster is just pretty thin. So a lot of times if you just put one piece of gauze up against something flat, it almost comes out looking like stone. It looks like it's got a stone pattern and stuff in it. So you end up seeing like little lines going through it with horizontal and vertical lines. So it will look kind of interesting. Let's go to the next photo. Again, here's some of that bark stuff. I think I was putting it across there just trying to see what it would look like. And I don't know if it ended up there or not. We'll see in a minute. Let's go to the next photo. And again, I think I moved out of the garage and had to do this. But again, there you can see where this is. It's just a piece of foam and stuff that I've added on there just to create the embankment or embankment or whatever you want to call it for the bridge. And still got a lot of plaster work and stuff to do. It's mainly just a matter of painting all this, so because it's it's more of a mountain area looking like. Let's go to the next photo. Again, that's sort of the backside. Again, you can see the skyboard and stuff there. And the trees are nothing fancy. I mean, if you look at them and stuff, there's not a whole lot of detail. Basically, you just take, you get a couple shades of green and stuff, and you take an old paintbrush and just start dabbing it on. And you end up with stuff that kind of resembles trees. You end up with, especially you put it over a blue skyboard and stuff, where the green paint doesn't go, it looks like you're looking through trees looking at the sky beyond. And then you come back later and you can just put some horizontal lines on it. It'll look like the trunks. And for the trees here, now it's starting to get some big trees. I wanted something durable. A lot of times on my layout, I'll use like super trees or one of those products and stuff that are the lichen and maybe with a wire frame or a lichen on some sort of sticks. But the thing about a lot of that stuff is after a while, and if it's on a layout that you're moving around a lot, it's kind of brittle. So a lot of it breaks off. I've been trying to figure out what to do. I bought a bunch of the plastic trees that Walter sells, and they're just kind of, I don't know what to do with them for sure, but you see pictures of their pictures, and they look gorgeous and stuff. I've yet to get that. I haven't figured that out yet, how they do it, but that's what these are. I thought this is a good place to use them, and I'll get some experience using them. And if I like them, I'll be able to put them on, the portable modules that I've got to go for queso and stuff. Let's go ahead and go to the next one. Again, you can see where the river's in, the trees and stuff are coming in. There's some shrubbery going in around the building. And then the farms and stuff, like I said, I've got the fields and stuff kind of covered with foam. I put some kind of cut away here to make it look like it's on a raised area and stuff. We created a road where you can run off the layout with it and what have you. Okay, let's go to the next one. And again, more of the same. There's the plastic trees. And for the most part, they work out pretty good. I mean, overall, I mean, once you saw them on the video and stuff, they looked really nice. I mean, they're not as nice as some of the super trees and some of the other things as far as for the detail and stuff. You might not really want them in the foreground, but they're probably fine in the background. Let's go into the next photo. All right, on the farm, it's starting to take shape. Of course, if you got a farm, you're probably gonna need some fences and stuff. So I'm not sure what I used there. If it was just, I think it's probably just styrene that I painted brown and stuck them in the ground. Of course, I've got a tractor there. Every farm needs a tractor, and there's some cattle running around in the fields. I've also got a bunch of the really bright color foam that at one time I thought I was going to make a nice fall scene. The problem with it is you very seldom see, colors like that in nature, except maybe for 1 week or something like that, if you just happen to catch the right time. A lot of times it's a lot more subtle. The colors start coming out because when the temperatures drop, they get frost. And when the frost comes, it's usually the top of the trees. So if I really wanted to do a better job, it's not so bad that you don't really just see really bright reds like that, except maybe on a really, really sunny day, and it's just kind of highlighted. But the other thing you don't see is you don't see really bright green trees and the colored trees together. So if you really want to do a fall scene, the thing to do is have probably some yellow and reds and stuff in a spray can and just lightly mist the top of your trees so it looks like they're starting to turn. And then you can have, if it's a higher elevation like that, you could have some more fall colors. Let's see, let's go on to the next one. That's back, and there's the riverbed and stuff. You can start to see it starting to take, better shape and stuff. The scenery's getting closer and closer to being finished. Okay, let's try our next one. And there's a lot more vegetation around the Creative Bed Company. But all that vegetation, it kind of blends everything together, and it also kind of hides problems and stuff. So it's really the more kind of stuff you can add like that, it just brings the scene a lot more to life. Also, if you notice, there's a lot of different colors there. The thing you see a lot of times that's just kind of really striking to me is when people will put ground foam and stuff on, they'll pick like a dark green. Well, you don't see dark green except maybe in a suburb or something where people are watering their lawn every day. Most of the time it's variable colors and what have you. And it looks so much better when you vary the colors and stuff. Because like a lot of times the weeds are a brighter green than just the regular grass and stuff around them. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, there's the gas station and stuff, and stuff is starting to get done around there. For the farm and stuff, I took some of the smaller plastic trees, and those plastic trees, when you get them, there's several different sizes and stuff they make. So I bought some that are real small that are maybe only, maybe 2 inches or something tall, maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and then some bigger ones. So the bigger ones you can see back there in the forest, but like fruit trees and stuff are usually smaller trees. And so I used the smaller ones, and then you take that polyfoam. I took green polyfoam and put it on there to create all the leaves and stuff, the foliage. And I'm not sure who makes it, but it's probably Walters or one of them. They come out with our Cornerstone. They make apples and oranges. And an N scale apple is probably more like the size of a cantaloupe and stuff. That's probably got the biggest apple trees on you'll ever find. But that's pretty much what you're limited to. And I guess if you made it any smaller, it would, you know, you might not even really be able to see it. So I had apples and stuff, so I ended up making an apple orchard. And you can see the people there, they must have run out of gas. They're going to the gas station. They're actually pushing the car. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, there's the apple trees and stuff, and just some of the foliage and stuff. And by putting like weeds and stuff growing up in the corners and around the base of the buildings and stuff, it does two things. First, it makes it look more realistic. The other thing it does is that it had, you know, you had the gaps and stuff, so it fits against the scenery a lot better. So it looks like it's actually planted better. If you look real close, you can kind of see where the paint's not that great on the windows. It's partly white, and you can see, or it's painted blue, but it's got like white token through. Well, that's what I tell people. The thing is that if you look in real life, people are terrible painters for the most part, or things just go. So it's like you could give a 2-year-old a building and tell them to paint it. No matter how bad they did, you could probably find an example of it somewhere, you know, if you go around and look long enough. All right, let's go to the next photo. Again, you can see more of the farm. Again, these are like wire farm trees there. Scale also has some, and I forget the company who sells them, but they're pieces of wire that have been twisted together and have foliage on them, and they're little branches. They're about that long, so that's what these are. And I don't know, if you put them in a pattern and stuff and put them by a farm, I have no idea what it is or what it's supposed to look like, but it looks like it's something they're growing. So it could be a young orchard, or it could be something else. And the same way with the ones over there, they're just, you know, there's all kinds of things. A lot of times they'll put a stick or something in the ground or something to hold them. And like even tomatoes and stuff, if you do it, it gets pretty dense and stuff, and you end up with shapes like that. So you can see, and I think I had a figure there. There's a pond going in there, and there's a chicken coop over on the other side. Let's go to the next photo. There's back into that gully and stuff. You can see I've got more of the scenery and stuff underneath the bridge and around the bridge and stuff. How about your next photo? And again, there's the river basin and stuff, and you can see all the foliage and stuff there. The deck's kind of looks like, even though it's actually, the whole house is kind of sticking out over the hillside, but it looks, with the foliage and stuff there, it looks like it's just the deck's been built out and stuff, which, you know, somebody might do if they're living close to a river or something. Used to see, we had a boat down in Barron. I used to see stuff like that all the time. Let's go to the next one. Again, there's the farm and stuff. And let's see what I was looking for. You can't see it yet. Okay, let's go to the next one. And then there's the cows and stuff out. Let's try the next one. All right, on this one, if you look back there, I made a pumpkin patch. And what I ended up doing is you can buy that, I think they call it ground cover or foliage or something. It's like it's you know, it's in the little plastic bags that they sell at Scale. And it's like a polyfiber with some ground foam and stuff on it. You just pull it out real thin, and it'll look like weeds, or it'll look like vines, or what have you. Well, I put that down first, and then I went and I saw probably at Michael's or somebody. They had straight pins with little round ends on it, probably for hemming up, you know, for hemming up clothes or what have you. And I painted them orange, set it up with a pumpkin field back there. And then around, I put a fence and stuff around the house to keep the cattle and the animals out of the yard. And then I thought, well, again, I had all those bright colored foam and stuff, and that's a good place for it because fires and stuff have. And landscaping a lot of times is a lot brighter than, you know, what you normally see, you know, as far as the colors and stuff, so you get away with it. And also, I had it from Pfizer houses or building, not buildings, people. They come in a box and stuff that Pfizer makes. And one of the things they had in there was a clothesline with somebody hanging clothes and stuff on it. So I ended up putting a clothesline in the backyard. All right, let's go to the next one. And again, that's just another view of the farm and stuff. You can see the farm animals walking around. Like I said, this big pile of hay and stuff, it was just a piece of plastic, a big round bump like thing. And I put some glue on it and dropped some ground foam on it and gave it, you know, where it's got some texture and stuff. So it looks more like a big hay pile. All right, let's go to the next one. And there we are again. Pretty much that's gotten to the end of it right there.
it's sitting there with a train and stuff on it. Again, I ran a train just to make sure everything was running well. I had included when I sold it to them and stuff, I had some old N scale RS3s that were made. They were good runners and stuff, but they run fine once you get them up to speed and stuff. They wouldn't be any good for running, like switching and what have you. And also they had the old, they call them repeato couplers, which don't look anything at all like a real coupler. But the nice thing about it is once you couple them to other repeato couplers, they stay coupled. So you can stick it for a display and stuff. It doesn't look realistic, but it's dependable. So you can turn it on, it'll run for hours and you won't have problems with it. Let's go to the next photo. And again, you can see with the edges of it painted black and stuff, the power supply pretty much hidden away and everything. And it turned out to be a fairly nice looking layout, really. And the nice thing about it being sectional and stuff like that, it really, if I had to build another layout in my house, I'd try to do a sectional one. Because with this, you can walk around it when you're building it, which makes it real easy to get, some of the scenery done, which would normally be kind of hard to reach. You can lay it on its edge, so you can get all the wiring underneath it done without having to crawl around on the floor and stuff and trying to do it there. And if you just do the hard parts like that, and then you can put it up in your home layout, put the section in place, and you've got a lot of the hard stuff done behind you, so you get it done a lot faster. Let's go ahead to the last picture. And there it is, all closed up. And now you see it, now you don't.
So how do you mount that? It's mounted on obviously a piece of plywood. Did you mount it?
Yeah, what they had is like a big plywood shelf, I believe, with and it's got pieces coming out because as you can see, these are those things like you got on your hatchback cars and stuff is what they're using. And I don't know what the hinges look like and stuff. Like I said, they built the cabin. I pretty much once I delivered the layout to them and stuff, I was done with it.
Was it delivered just with the foam?
Yeah,
And
the
then the
2
wiring
inch.
was hidden under the bottom of the.
Yeah, once I had grooves cut in the bottom of the foam and stuff, and I was able just to tape it all up and keep everything to where it wouldn't pull out.
So before you started, you had a height restriction on?
No, not really. They didn't. Yeah,
Or did they just build a cabinet after the fact, come out and measure your layout and then build?
yeah. I asked them about that, and I was concerned with something like that, but I guess really on a Murphy bed, I'm never. I don't know if I've ever really seen one, but on a normal bed, you'll have box springs and then a mattress. So I don't know if they do a box spring and mattress on a Murphy bed or not, but I guess they could, because like I said, my layout was, that's probably, let's see, 2, 4, maybe another. It's probably like maybe 12 inches or so is all tall. And then this thing here was just a big long piece of styrofoam that was off fall and stuff. I glued it together, cut a groove in it. I probably used a router down it and cut a 1 inch wide groove and deep enough to hold an engine and put a lid on it so that, once they put the train away and close the lid, it's all pretty much contained. But the nice thing about it, like I said, once it's done, if you had it in a family room or something like that, you could fold it up and stuff and get it out of the way. And then the space would be available for if you had kids or grandkids or whatever for them to do other stuff. Any
Hey,
other
Rick?
questions?
Yeah, Rick?
Yeah.
Russ here. I'm sorry if I missed it in your introduction, but just roughly start to finish, how long was this project time-wise?
I'll start to finish. I started on, I think it was about the middle of May in 2013, and I finished it probably at the end of July.
Okay, so just a few months then, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
And part of that was just because, like I said, in 2013, I don't know, I can't remember what the problem was, but I had trouble finding track. I couldn't get the track for a couple of weeks. I had Scale didn't have Atlas just China wasn't supplying the track. They just, I don't know if it was a boycott going on or what, but they didn't have it in the stores. They didn't have any of the Atlas turnouts. And prior to that, Scale Reproduction stopped stocking the Pico turnouts in N scale. And so they could get them for you if you ordered them, but they didn't have them in the stores. So I had to order the turnouts. And because they didn't have the Atlas track, they were able to get Micro Engineering flex track, and that's what I used on all of it's just all flex tracks, so 3-foot piece.
I think that was the year that Bachman took over all the factories or something like that, and then everybody.
Something like that.
Yeah, everybody was scrambling to find a new factory.
Yeah, I think you could get Bachman sectional track still, because I think that's a Chinese company. And but that was about the extent of it. Any other questions?
Good presentation.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick.
Yeah, the other thing is now, they asked me if I could do a presentation. I said, well, I'll check my calendar. And they said, okay, we got you down for September. So just be careful.
Hey, Rick, do you have any ideas it's still out since that was like 11 years ago?
Paul Down said he saw it, they resold it and stuff. He said he saw it online where they sold it to somebody, so. Although the place had a lot of space and stuff. They had it like in their showroom right in front of the building and stuff for, I ended up doing other stuff for them. I built some offices and stuff over there also. So, I mean, I saw it for a few years.
It's a great.
But I don't know if they, it's really weird. Like I said, I was supposed to go to Nuremberg, Germany for that train fair or whatever. And for all I know, they hired me to do it and they had me build it. And I did it cheap enough to where they could write their German vacation or European vacation off as a business trip. It's just hard to say. I mean, I didn't, when they first talked, we first talked about it, I thought, I don't know, having a layout fold up and stuff, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. The thing about it is it was deep enough and stuff, you could probably have put some sidings and switches in the front where you could get to it and you could actually do little op sessions and stuff on it if you wanted to. So it'd be more than just having train run around in a circle.
What were the dimensions again?
It's about 3 foot by 7. But like I said, you could make it, you could make it a lot larger and stuff. Like I'm assuming, I don't know I'm not exactly sure what the dimensions on a king size bed is, but I'm thinking it's probably something like 7 foot by 7 foot or maybe a little bit more. But the problem is, of course, you're trying to reach all that stuff.
3 feet. Yeah.
So stuff small like this is a little bit better.
Very good.
But if anybody wants one, I can build the cabinet. We can do it again.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
You solved the mystery about them disappearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
Yeah, like I said, if anybody wants to see it, these are those molds and stuff I made, or if somebody needs to borrow them and stuff, I've got several of them for rocks and stuff. I even got a bunch of this. Like I said, this stuff works pretty nice when you put it on the layout. If you look at it, this looks really good in the foreground because of the textures and stuff to it and the colors. And if you look at it, it looks like fractured rock. It really does. And when you paint it, if you do paint it, you don't really even have to paint it. But if you do, I mean, I've got some on my layout that's painted gray and some of it's just this color. It just really looks neat. And you can get nice little small pieces. So a lot of times, like on the side of a creek bank or something like that, you'll see like a rock sticking out. You can get a piece that's like maybe 3/4 inch tall and stuff and kind of lay it flat and lay it down and it looks really nice.
Rick. The online guys couldn't see that before.
Yeah. I thought
So what is this?
It's cork bark. And what it was a wall towel. And I was doing a job and I was able to pull it off. It normally comes in 12 by 12 squares. And it was coming off real well. And I put it in the basement of my first house and my daughter's playroom and stuff. Made a wall. And you can pin stuff too. It's cork. You can stick a pin or something in it real easily. So we could hang pictures on the wall or what have you. But I have a lot of scrap of it left. And so, like I said, I've got some pieces of it. If somebody wants to play around with some, let me know. I'll get you some.
Very nice. Okay, if you never built a layout, want to, that's how it's done. And if you've never put together a presentation and you want to, that's also how it's done. Thank you, Rick.
All right, thank you.
That's all for us today. We'll see you next month.
Hey, guys.